It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the LSU women's soccer coach, Sian Hudson. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. Thank you.
Can you talk about how you got started in college coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Europe. I'm from South Wales originally in the United Kingdom, and played a long time ago. And then injury cut short my career, and I got into coaching quite young. And then when I came over to the United States, I was originally in the youth game for 13 years. And then I got into college coaching back in 2015 after a short stint coaching in the W League. And just really enjoy the college game. You know, it's a little bit more tactically focused than the youth game, and just have the opportunity to work with young women at a really important point in their lives.
Can you talk about your time as the University of Colorado's head coach?
Yeah, I was at UCCS in Colorado Springs, the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, for 3 years. I pretty much spent, the best part of the 20 years that I've been in the United States in Colorado Springs. And so it was my husband's alma mater. He was a soccer player there on the men's side. And when the job came available, I was at Colorado College as an assistant at the time. So it was an easy transition. I didn't have to move. And it was an opportunity to go from being an assistant coach to a head coach in the community I've been in for a long time. So it was a no-brainer in terms of the decision there for us. And we had a lot of success with the program. 2017, our first season, I came in and we were able to turn that program around from 3 wins to a Final Four run. So that was, extremely pleasing. And then in 2018 and 2019, we had very successful seasons as well. We won a couple of conference championships, and just had a great time learning the college game, and obviously have some great memories of Colorado Springs and my time at UCCS.
That's amazing. What is your time like serving as the Pride soccer coach, as the director, I mean?
Yeah, I'll always feel incredibly fortunate to have been given the opportunity to be a director of coaching at the age of 21. I'd just moved over from the United Kingdom, and the executive director there, Candy Brooks, gave me sort of my start in the coaching world. So I coached every age group from U8s to U18s at the club level, and won a lot of state championships and a couple of regional championships, and just really enjoyed being a female role model and mentor to so many young girls, and showing them that if they have dreams big enough, they can go on and accomplish those, and get college scholarships to play and get their education. And then at the end of the last couple of years of my tenure with Pride, I started up a semi-professional franchise. And so at one point I was coaching anything from 10-year-olds to 32-year-olds on the women's semi-pro team. But we have players from all over the world on that team, and definitely got me back to a point where I wanted to get into, more of the tactical side of the game. And that was sort of what spearheaded getting into the college game.
That's amazing that you started up that program. What was your time like being the youngest female player in the international league at Wales National Team?
Yeah, I played for Wales from every age group from U14, 16, 18, 19 into the full national team. And obviously had just broken into the full national team and had 2 caps when I tore my first ACL. But I think anytime you can represent your country at whatever age group it may be, it's always, an incredible honor, and had the opportunity to captain my country at various different age groups, and just loved my experience, traveling all over Europe, with great friends, great teammates, and representing the crest and my country for sure.
What have you accomplished so far at LSU as the head coach?
Well, it's been a very interesting first year. 2020 has been quite the time to move my family and move into a new program. But I think it's been challenging in some ways, but obviously, with what's happening in the world with the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement that so many athletes have, been incredibly passionate and supportive about, it's been a great time to sort of connect with my players, about social issues and maybe just help them understand, sort of the greater good of sport. But we just finished our first fall season, which was obviously a shortened season. We only played 8 regular season games instead of 20, but there were a lot of challenges for sure. Trying to hold team meetings with only 6 players and social distanced and being in masks, it doesn't provide for an easy environment to come in as a new coach and build connections and relationship with players. But we did the best that we could. And I think we've been able to reestablish the culture here, and the girls, really enjoy coming to training on a daily basis. And we have a very close-knit team chemistry. While results didn't go as well as we would have hoped, we had a 2-7-2 record this year. I think every game that we played in was very close. And, if the ball had bounced a different way, or if a couple of refereeing decisions had gone differently, we probably would have seen ourselves at 500. So I would say just as I reflect, probably, the most important thing that we've done this year is build a foundation, redefine the culture of the program, and we look forward to spring.
Can you talk about the culture that you've built for the program?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is incredibly important to me in any of the teams that I work with is to build a close bond with my players and to certainly encourage the team to be very close and tight knit. So we do a lot of exercises off the field to improve those relationships. I certainly would say a culture of accountability and ensuring that, the values that we set for our program are upheld, and, and that the players always understand what their roles are, whatever formation we're playing, that they're fully prepared for every training session and every game. We love to do film. I love film breakdown. And so we've been analyzing the game at a really high level. I think we've seen a lot of growth tactically in the team as well.
Can you talk about what you plan to accomplish in the spring, this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think during any competitive season, there's so much focus on your opponent and tactical preparation that at times it doesn't leave a lot of room for individual development. And so I think any spring season or non-competition season, just working on areas of the game that each player may need to focus on and to grow as an individual player. And just having the opportunity. We lost last spring as a new staff, so we didn't really have much time to play with different formations and different personnel. So I think the most important thing for me is certainly just giving every player on the roster an opportunity to prove themselves. And, we'll get 9 games in this spring as opposed to just the 5 that we typically get. So we'll get a lot of game time under our belts and just continue to evolve in sort of the style of soccer that we want to play here at LSU moving forward.
Can you talk about playing in the SEC and what kind of competitive field that runs with women's soccer?
Yeah, absolutely. The SEC is obviously one of the, the premier women's soccer conferences in the country, and it's been, a joy to be a part of it. You're playing against some of the top teams in the country week in, week out. So, from a coaching standpoint, it definitely has been, just really exciting to scout opponents and to see the different ways that each team in the SEC plays the game. We have a lot of diversity in terms of style. But no, it's just, wonderful facilities everywhere that we go. A lot of coaches that have been in the game for 20 plus years, and just a fantastic environment to be a student athlete in.
Can you talk about the recruitment process in the women's soccer program and what that's like?
Yeah, for us in particular at the moment, we came in last year and we didn't have a lot of commitments. And so, it has been challenging with the recruiting dead period to, be able to get out. Obviously can't get out on the road and watch players play. So we're doing a lot of video analysis on players from across the world, really. We're looking to bring in some international players as well as, domestic players. But, I think women's soccer players do commit quite early typically. And so this pandemic has seen maybe the recruiting cycle slow down, and players will probably be committing now through their senior year, whereas a lot of players, certainly going into the SEC would typically have been committing early in their junior year. So I think in a way we may look back on this pandemic and how it changes recruiting, and say that it could potentially be for the better. But obviously it's a difficult period for coaches and players alike at the moment, with just not being able to get on the road and go through the typical recruiting process.
What have you implemented for the official visit to make LSU a more special place for recruits to go to?
Well, we can't actually run official visits at the moment. So the dead period started back in March and will now extend through till April 15th. So recruits are able to come on unofficial visits and tour campuses by themselves, with their parents, but we aren't able to conduct any official visits at the moment.
What do you plan to accomplish whenever you are able to conduct official visits?
Just showing everybody the amazing opportunity here at LSU, whether that is, the unbelievable sporting traditions and atmosphere that we have across the board in the athletic department. Obviously, football won a national championship last year, and we're incredibly gifted in a lot of sports. So just showing our potential recruits, what their everyday life may be like, whether that's the facilities that we use or the people that they'll interact with, whether that's from, the coaching standpoint or the academic staff standpoint, and then getting them immersed with the team for a day or two where they can get to know the players and the culture and just get a really good feel by the time they leave campus for what life would be like as a student athlete at LSU. And, obviously popping over to say hi to Mike the Tiger is always is a great part of your day. But for me, the official visits are just an incredibly good time to fully immerse them in the daily sort of routine of a student athlete here at LSU.
On the official visits, are they allowed to also try on the jerseys to see if they feel at home?
Yeah, they can try on. They can try on any, sort of attire. They just can't take any with them off campus. But, when you commit a player and they come on their official visit, we typically have them do uniform sizing and gear sizing for the following year. So you can place their orders, in advance and maybe take a photograph in what would potentially be their locker. So I think official visits, with how early soccer is committing athletes, almost become sort of a celebratory time where, the deal has already been done, so to speak, and then they're just coming in with their fellow classmates and just having, a good weekend watching their future teammates play and spending time bonding with their future classmates.
That's wonderful. What advice would you give upcoming high school athletes looking to get recruited to the next level?
I would say, ask yourself how you're going to separate yourself from the masses. Obviously, there are thousands and thousands of players across the country trying to do exactly what you're doing. So how are you going to separate yourself, whether that is from a communication standpoint in terms of how you communicate with college coaches, from a training standpoint, what are you doing outside of your regular club and high school practices in order to prepare yourself for the next level? So, physical preparation for the collegiate level is so important. And then obviously during events and games, what are your special qualities and how are you going to showcase them? So I always told my players on the club side that, you have to have a special quality that separates yourself, even if it's work ethic and just your sheer determination to get around the field and to tackle, but you have to have something that when college coaches put their chair down and watch you play, that they see something special in you. So yeah, that's probably my greatest piece of advice.
That's wonderful. What advice would you give upcoming college coaches looking to get into the profession?
Study the game, be really knowledgeable on, the tactical application of the game. It's very important that your teams are prepared. You have a lot less games at the college level than you do at the club or high school level. So preparation, I think, is crucial. Build relationships with your players. I think your team culture is crucial. And without a positive and good team culture, it's very difficult to have any kind of sustained success. So I think with girls in particular, they typically want to know why they're having to do things. So I spend a lot of time helping my players understand these are the things that I want you to execute, and here's the reasons why. So I think one of our greatest gifts as a coach is to increase the knowledge base of our players. So in the future, maybe they can get into the coaching profession or just coach their own kids and expand, the game in this country.
That's wonderful. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the LSU Women's Soccer Program at?
On Instagram, I just changed my profile. Let me take a quick look. But LSU Soccer, for sure. And then Sean, hold on, let me just make sure here, at Sian Hudson 7, Coach Sian Hudson 7.
Thank you again, Coach Sian Hudson, for your interview, and best of luck in this upcoming season.
I appreciate your time, Brandon. Thank you so much.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at @talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Sian Hudson, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you. Take care.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.